Nublitz released a video on why Ark and Snail Games is broke and how they've basically run what should be a successful franchise straight into the ground, which is concerning because it's a good series and we're still waiting on Ark 2, but the game is so like locked up with all these other issues about like Ark 2 got delayed, then they came out with Ark Ascendant, which was going to be free, but now it's not free because it's paid, and then you're not going to get all the maps when it first comes out because they're not ready. And they've like gone back and forth so much on what the next expansion for Ark is going to be, which is basically a remake in Real Engine 5 and Ark 2 getting delayed, that like the fan base is just in an uproar. But it seems they are now fighting not only the fan base but the lone man because they're going broke.
Come out. But before I get into it, please like and subscribe because it took ages to make. Thank you very much.
Do all that stuff.
I'll be referencing videos by Buzz Lightyear and GP, but I'll link in the description below. So well done for them for finding this information out. First off, it looks like Snail.
Buzz Lightyear does really good research. So if there's anything like to like get a jump start on your research process for making a video like this, I think Buzz Lightyear is a good one to go with. So he's going to have a solid foundation.
Snail Games is broke and has run out of money. They did a filing with the SEC, and from their investor report, they have stated they are 9 million in debt. There are another 2 loans due to be repaid soon of 6 million and 2.9 million.
Wait, negative cash flow of 15 million in 6 months? Lost $15 million in 6 months. Jesus. They're in really bad shape.
But Snail intends to renegotiate the terms, but there is no guarantee they'll get that.
If they don't get
and there's a substantial doubt that Snail will continue as an ongoing concern. They're just hanging in there. They owe Marbis. You might better know them as Nitrado, the company that hosts their official Ark servers, over $1 million, and that Snail are borrowing another $3 million from Nitrado for what looks like to finish Ark Survival Ascended. Marbis hereby grants Snail Games USA funding up to the principal amount of $4,046,332.
So they have 2 loans for $9 million total, and they're getting ready to take out a third loan for $4 million. Holy hell. And with all the drama that's going on with Ascendant, the next Ark like remake or whatever it really is, because it doesn't seem like they're adding anything to the game, or it's not changing at all. It's just like a revamp and re-imaging. Then it's not a complete port over because it's not that easy. It's very complicated. I don't know exactly what Ascendant is. It's like a new game in a remake, but it's not a new game, and you can't add things because the system doesn't work that way. They've been really like not clear, and I don't think they've shown a lot of footage about Ascendant, which is supposed to come out soon. But like with all the drama around Ascendant, I don't know that they're going to get a lot of money in from that, because people are really mad about the whole system and how it was supposed to be versus what you're actually getting with additional packs, and you have to rebuy the game plus rebuying DLC and all the other stuff. But I guess it makes sense now when you look at it, because they're dirt poor, so they need to monetize the hell out of it to even like look at keeping it going forward until they collapse.
Prepaid details are as follows. If Ark Survival Ascended is officially launched and released globally on a personal computer platform no later than on the 31st of October 2023, Snail Games USA shall pay to Marvis an amount equal to 20% of monthly gross revenue received by Snail Games and or any of its affiliates solely pertaining to Ark Survival Ascended.
So if they release by the end of October the Ark Ascended, they get 20% of all revenue from Ark Survival Ascended from the one game until they're repaid in full. So end of October, they get all the money from that one game until they're paid in full. Pretty
up to the
straightforward.
repayment amount until the repayment amount has been repaid in full. I'll abbreviate it down a bit to make it more understandable. If Ark Survival Ascended is released before the 31st of October 2023, Snail Games will pay 20% of Ark Survival Evolved's monthly gross revenue until the loan has been paid off in full. But if that doesn't happen, then you have, if Ark Survival Ascended has not been officially launched and released globally on a personal computer platform by the 31st of October 2023, Snail Games USA shall pay to Marvis the amount equal to 20% of monthly gross revenue received by Snail Games USA and or any of its affiliates solely pertaining to Ark Survival Evolved and the games up to the repayment amount until the repayment amount has been repaid in full. Wow, that's a lot of word bollocks. Which means if Ark Survival Ascended is not out by the 31st of October 2023, Snail Games will have to pay Marbis 20% of the monthly gross revenue from Ark Survival Evolved, Ark Survival Ascended when it comes out, or the DLCs, and Ark 2 whenever it comes out, until it's been paid in.
Ooh, that's big. That is big. Okay, so first of all, no matter which deal they're making, they're losing 20% of revenue from either one game or their entire lineup until they're repaid. So you have a company that's already struggling to keep the lights on, and you're going to cut out 20% of any profit going into the future. But if they get it out before the end of October, they only have to pay for the one title, the 20%. But if they don't make the end of October deadline, it's 20% of every game they release in the Ark lineup until they get repaid, which means they'll have to play for any new Survival Evolves, all new Survival Ascendants, and Ark 2 20%, which are their big money makers in a company that's already struggling to keep the lights on. That is a rough deal. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on the financials when they're already in an environment where the player base is mad at them. Yeah, this sounds good. Nothing can go wrong here. This is a solid plan.
Full.
They should
so
go
Ark
for it.
Ascended has to be released before the 31st of October 2023.
Yeah,
Buzz Lightyear found out how much Ark has made.
choice.
According to this LinkedIn profile for Doug Kennedy, CEO and co-founder of Studio Wildcard, Ark Survival Evolved has grossed over $1.3 billion since it released in 2015. And a side note of interest here, each of the DLCs has generated over $40 million.
So when I first heard this, I thought, wow,
wait,
where the hell is all the...
So there's the 1 point whatever billion plus another 40 million on DLCs or DLC or whatever. That's a lot of money to be just straight gone. I mean, at this point, if you're coming up on 10 million in the hole, where did that go?
The savings gone. Snail don't even have enough money to pay for their current servers. Never mind have enough to get Ark Survival Ascended finished. You notice they only mentioned they have to get the PC version out by then. So if you're on a console, sorry, but it's likely it's going to be very badly delayed. Snail must get ASA out.
Obviously, like, with the terms and conditions of that loan, like, cut development on the consoles, focus on the PC, and then you can go back to the console with the hope that you make money on the PC version, assuming you're going to, because again, the community has been upset with them over the way they've handled the entire expansion process for Ascended and then, you know, going into Ark 2. But
before the 31st of October 2023.
They are
whatever.
So backed into a corner right now, it's not even funny. They are back against the wall fighting for their life. It looks all bad for Snail Game.
Date it's in. So not to lose a 20%
and
from
hopefully they don't take everything down
money.
with them.
So is it going to be rushed or even finished in time? Snail had said ASA will be coming with the Island and Scorched Earth maps. Ark Ascended was meant to be a remaster,
at
taking
$60.
everything from Ark from the last 8 years, fixing it and making it better to a higher standard. but it's only launching with the island map now, and that's even being released in early access. Name one remaster that's ever been launched in early access.
See, and that's another thing that like has a lot of people upset is for $60, you can get the game in a better working order that is the state that the game that's already out should be in, but it's not. So you can pay $60 and get the game where it should be instead of where it is. That like has upset the community in general, and now they're saying you're not even getting the 3 initial maps at launch, you're just getting the 1. Like, they're going backwards. As far as the development of this Ascended has gone, they have been moving backwards the entire time since it's been announced.
There aren't none, as that would be a complete piss take. It sounds more like they've run out of money, and they've got to get Arc Ascended out just to raise more funds, as they weren't going to get Arc 2 done in time, and this would be a test bed for that game to see if they could get everything working. We know Wildcard is struggling to work in Unreal Engine 5. Then you have all the new complicated, integrated login and modding systems they have to add. We have seen nothing at all from Arc Ascended, not even in-game still, and because they've got that 31st of October deadline, they will have to bang it out in whatever state it's in. Even if Arc Ascended doesn't work, is unplayable and is a complete disaster. Something like or worse than the Atlas release, they will still have to bring it out.
Also, there's this whole part, like, yeah, they have to get it out, like, however they can in order to not like hemorrhage extra money in this entire process based on that last deal. But the whole like Ark Survival Ascended feels like an afterthought. It feels like we were running out of runway in development of Ark 2, so we need to do a quick money raise, and this is the easiest way to do a money raise. But now that's getting all muddied and fumbled. So, like, that isn't even going well, is how Ascended feels.
With a fix-it-later attitude.
This is disgusting.
Otherwise, Snail loses 20%
franchise
of all its Arc income to Nitrado. So that doesn't really fill me with confidence. You can be optimistic if you like, but I'm just trying to save you from being disappointed. And if it is good, you'll be happily surprised.
Their decision,
but then again,
I guess.
Atlas release. Let's talk about that loan from Marbis. Did Nitrado willingly offer Snail the loan, or were they strong-armed into it, otherwise they wouldn't get the Arc hosting anymore?
I mean,
the relationship is Snail Games USA is meant...
It seems like the two have a fairly symbiotic relationship where one feeds the other. So, like, if Snail Games goes under, Morbis loses it anyway. But if Morbis supports Snail Game, they have a chance of continuing the relationship into the future. So like they're almost codependent on each other's existence at this point. So like I don't know if there's any necessary manipulation or strong arming as much as like it is in our self-interest to make sure that this other company that helps feed us stays alive and vice versa.
Meant to be the main company at the top of the food chain, and Nitrado is just a supplier who hosts the Arc servers. It had to be embarrassing for Snail to tell their supplier they couldn't pay them, never mind asking them for a loan. Why couldn't Snail get a loan from somewhere else? Were they refused loans and were
because
forced
they're
to ask
over leveraged?
We shall probably never know. Snail wouldn't want anyone to know they'd run out of money, even their own companies below them, so it all makes sense now. Why Jeremy Seedlet said Arc Ascended would be a free upgrade, because he must have thought that Snail Games was loaded with loads of savings.
Yeah, that didn't age well, did it?
$1.3 billion.
But I'm betting Snail Games didn't even tell him or Wildcard that had run out of money, as they didn't want to lose face. Then only did Snail tell them when they were forced to charge for Arc Ascended because we were desperate to bring money in. A logical reason why Nitrado loaned Snail the money is that Nitrado has been working with Snail for years and hosts their servers.
Right.
Snail has been
Very
good for the money
lucrative.
up to now. and Nitrado has made a lot of money from Snail over the years, from hosting their Ark servers, and they want to keep that relationship going. When Ark Ascended is released, they hope it will make tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, so they think it's a sure thing that they'll get their money back. But if Snail didn't get their loan money, they couldn't finish Ark Survival Ascended. Snail,
let alone Ark 2, which is going to be the big push, right? Like, Survival Ascended is kind of like an afterthought. Not finishing Ark 2 is what really kills probably the studio and the publisher, right? Because if they have this much money wrapped up in Ark 2 and they can't get to release Ark 2 in a good state, then there's no coming back from that. Ascended is an afterthought. Ark 2 is supposed to be the big next thing in their lineup.
Wouldn't get all those millions saved up. Snail would run out of money and wouldn't be able to pay for the servers anymore. So to keep getting money from Snail Games for the server hosting for now and the future, Nitrado had to give Snail the loan, or Nitrado would lose a large amount of their future income. Plus, it gives Marbis, Nitrado, the dominant position over Snail Games, and a huge bargaining chip that they can ask for just about anything they want. And they did do.
A little bit,
it's going to be really bad news for some of you, including me, but a lot of you won't be bothered or care. GP found out first that Snail have signed an exclusive deal to only let Nitrado host their Ark Survival Ascended servers.
That's
not just the official servers, but all paid-for private servers as well. That means you can't use your server companies that you like and used before to host your group servers. Marbis Nitrado has exclusive rights to host all...
Okay, this like hosting company is getting a really good deal on this loan. Like, this loan is insanely lucrative for the server company, assuming Snail Games doesn't tank and go under, right? They're getting a lot out of this. Like, exclusivity in both official and private hosted servers is not small.
Ark Survival Ascended servers.
Assuming
rent out
that it
private
goes
servers and community servers.
The game.
All commercial and monetized servers. For Ark Ascended and Ark 2 and any other
Ark
games.
2.
For 7 years, but after 3 years, Snail can look for new hosts, but once per year, if they need to. Nitrado seem to make a good business decision, and you can't fault them for doing what's best for themselves. To be the only and exclusive host for Ark Survival Ascended servers. They have monopolised the market of Ark Survival Ascended, so it should bring more money in for them. I have no ill feelings towards Nitrado, I just don't like my options being taken away from me, being forced to use them or nothing. I'm not moving from my server company, as
I think there's a lot of people out there that completely agree with that statement. It's not that I don't want to use your service, it's that I don't want to be forced to use your service and not have a choice to use any other services. It's not that I dislike your service, it's that I want the option to pick your service. I want a competitive battleground so that I can pick what's best for me and not be told this is the option I have. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Everyone else, and to find out they were the best. Link in the description box below if you want to rent a server, by the way. I've been hosting my own Ark servers with them for years, and I was going to change over those servers to Ark Survival Ascended ones. I'm sure a lot of people would have done the same as well, but this has totally screwed up all our plans for Ark Survival Ascended, and I don't know what I'll be doing now. I know being forced to host with Nitrado will put a large amount of people off buying Ark Ascended when they'd planned to set up their own server of choice. It has me, and announcing it this late, just before launch, doesn't help matters either, as people needed time to plan. I get a feeling they only announced it now because people found out from the investor report, so they had to respond. So you only can use Nitrado servers to run Ark Ascended, or set up your own hardware to run it, which is a complete pain in the ass, will cost a lot, and almost no one will do. I ran a poll asking if this has put you off from buying Ark Ascended, and 22% of people said yes. Then on top of that, you have everything else Snail has done to put people off from buying it. Which leads us to the final point. Snail Games is sure that Ark Extended will sell well and make many millions, but that's not guaranteed. We know it must be rushed out if it's ready or not. What if it's in such a bad state that most people stay away or refund it? With the amount of red flags, if there was ever a game not to pre-order, Ark Ascended is it. Unless you're reviewing.
Don't pre-order any game. Just don't do it. You never know. Let it come out and someone is going to let you know how busted it is within the first day or two. Don't pre-order games. I think it's a trend that needs to stop. Don't pre-order anything.
Bring it to tell other people what it's like. Then on top, all the bad news from the past few months. And after all the corruption and shady shit Snail Games, Ark's publisher, has pulled over the years, like banning players for no reason when they've done nothing wrong, just because they attack the publisher's tribe and are cheating in their own game. Watch this video to find out about that if you have.
Okay, the quick and easy on this one is a clan raided another clan, but that clan had a bunch of people that were on the publishing team in that clan, so that when they raided that clan, this clan with the publishers got mad and told Wildcard, like, hey, these people are cheating, you need to ban them, when all they did was raid and you know, mess up the publishers. They didn't do anything wrong, but then they got banned, and then it never got reversed because the only thing they did wrong was attack the publishers, like, preferred clan on the publisher's preferred server. So, like, if you're better than the publishers, you're not allowed to play the game. Is kind of what came out of that one. It was a real good.
Haven't already? Many people have already said they're sick of it and are not buying it on principle, as they don't like or trust a publisher.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this Ark Ascended already has such negative PR around it for really what is a good franchise and good game. I really liked Ark. Ark has a lot of playability and replayability, and there's tons to do in the game, but they have such a negative reputation right now because of the last 6 months to a year with everything they've done with this whole Ascended mess. And like, it feels like now that it's all about the money, which I guess kind of highlights the problem as why battle passes and seasonal mechanics exist for live service games, because obviously these server costs is what's like tanking the company. Like, even with all of the money they made from the original sale plus all of the DLCs, they've burned through all that money in the timeline that it took them to develop Ark 2, because they don't have any paid subscription or seasonal mechanics or anything like that. And as much as we hate them, microtransactions, seasonal mechanics, whatever, they obviously need to do these to have an always online game system like that, unless they're just going to have the player base pay for their own servers. It does highlight a problem as to why microtransactions and seasonal mechanics exist for games as a way to make money for always online games. But like, they probably should have been a lot more into the details about how they were financially maintaining their runway for development of Ark 2 long before they got to this point. So it's not on the end users, but they're obviously trying to capitalize and get Ascended out to monetize the hell out of it in order to try to turn enough profit to pay off some of the debt and finish Ark 2, which is a problem because they're approaching the creation timeline under the rush and backed into the corner of fiscal responsibility.
After over a lot of new games
which
coming
makes
out
a bad
soon
product.
that look more fun than Ark, and I'll be doing a video on all of them, so don't
They do
forget
have
to
a lot of
subscribe
competition
for that
right
if you're not
now.
already. But with all the hostility Snail Games has built up around itself, Snail have created a situation where there is the biggest incentive ever now for people not to buy Arc Ascended. Because if Arc Ascended doesn't sell, Snail Games can't pay their debts, they might go under, or at very least be forced to sell the Arc IP to another company that would buy it and fund Wildcard to finish it properly, then release ASA later. For this outcome, not buying Arc Ascended will be...
I don't know if that's true. It is possible that Wildcard the studio can weather this storm, but it is also possible that if Snail has to collapse or sell off, that Wildcard also can't continue unless they get picked up by someone else. And that's a lot of like chance. I guess it's like a calculated risk if you want to get rid of Snail Games and hope that Wildcard can survive long enough to get picked up by another publisher. But then what if it gets picked up by a publisher that does exclusive content? So like, I really like Arc, but a company that works only for Nintendo or PlayStation picks it up and they don't want to work on a PC port because they want to make an exclusive. Like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Wildcard would go for that, and I think the base game is built around PC, so it'd be really hard to force them to maneuver into like an exclusive position like that. But these are all other like problems with that scenario. Like there's a very reasonable scenario that if Snail goes under, Wildcard collapses with it, and Arc 2 goes into development hell and never comes out.
Your one and only chance from Wildcard to be released from under Snail Games. Then all the Snail's corruption is removed, and you get the Arc Ascended game a bit later. So yeah, Snail Games staying silent and doing nothing about its own corruption. What's the worst that could happen? This, it affecting your entire company. When you should have just restored all the people you unfairly banned, apologised, and stopped cheating in your own game. There's a few months before Arc Ascended.
That would have been a really good thing to do to kind of like stave back the PR mess that the whole ban fest was. But they have more PR concerns outside of the whole banning thing. Like they have had a constant struggle with Arc Ascended. If you've been paying attention or watching any of the Arc Ascended news, like it has gone back and forth. They flip-flop how much it's going to cost. It's going to be free. It's going to be 70. It's going to be 30. You're going to get all the DLC. You're going to get none of the DLC. Like they've gone back and forth so many times that it's just a train wreck nightmare that I don't even know how much the game is going to cost and what I'm going to get when I buy that game with Arc Ascended. Because it's been so unclear and they've gone in so many different directions with it. And every time they make a decision, they seem to like double down and piss off the community more. At one point in time, if I got the premium package of Ascended, I was going to get Arc 2 as well. But then they scrapped that and they said if I buy Arc 2 as a pre-order, I'll get Arc Ascended as a bonus. But then they scrapped that, doubled the cost of that. And like they've been all over the fucking place with the marketing strategy for both Arc Ascended and Arc 2. And it's mind-numbing how badly they're handling all of it.
Comes out. So plenty of time for many more things to go wrong. At this point, it seems like Snail are going down a checklist each week and destroying any reason to be excited about Arc Ascended. What
Sounds
next?
about right.
Everyone will have to buy new hardware just to run it in Unreal 5? What do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if this video is helpful, and share it with your friends if you think it'll help them out.
The whole hardware thing. There's very little doubt in my mind that with the hardware thing, that the game's going to come out, it's going to be buggy, and it's going to have glitches and kind of like a mess, and it might have some crashing issues, and they're going to blame the user's hardware. There's very little doubt in my mind. That is like the new industry standard when a game starts crashing or has problems running. They're saying, well, you're not running a system that has our recommended specs, so like this isn't on us. or have you updated Windows because that's not our fault. Like, that has become like a trend that is just disgusting to a certain degree. But I don't know. Snail Games has to figure it out, and I don't know if they can, because I think they're making deals to get the loans based on what they assume the success of Ascended is going to be. However, I don't think they realize how much of a PR mess Ascended is, and it's going to bite them in the long run. And the only winner out of this entire deal is probably the server, because like they got such a sweetheart deal that if the game is successful to even the smallest degree, they get the lion's share benefit out of that next game. That is such a good deal for the servers. I don't understand why they wouldn't make that deal. 20% of revenue plus exclusivity. So not only do they get the money back based on sales, but they get to monopolize the system of running servers, which is continued projected income if the game has like the smallest level of success. Good on the server system. They killed it in this whole deal, but Snail Games obviously mishandled the entirety of their fiducials trying to build Ark Survival Ascended and Ark 2. They have destroyed this process and not done it correctly.